Hey adventurers, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of Europe's most iconic hiking trails, the Tour du Mont Blanc. Have you ever wondered what it takes to conquer one of the world's most famous trails? The Tour du Mont Blanc is a circular route of over 170 kilometers and 10,000 meters elevation gain, crossing 3 countries, France, Italy and Switzerland. We're here to guide you through every step, every challenge and every breathtaking view. First, let's introduce ourselves. We are Lee and Karen, 2 South Africans who moved to the Netherlands to explore and travel Europe. The Tour du Mont Blanc was Karen's first multi-day hike, and we were super excited to tackle this bucket list adventure together. We faced ups and downs, but we made incredible memories along the way. So let's jump right in and start this journey together. A quick disclaimer, I'm going to butcher the Italian and French languages. I do apologize in advance. To kick off our adventure, we first had to get to Chamonix, which is the base for starting the Tour du Mont Blanc. Like many hikers, we flew into Geneva airport and then hopped on a bus to Chamonix. Bus tickets are readily available and it costs around 20 euros and took us around 1.5 hours to get to Chamonix. Once we arrived, we checked into our hotel and took some time to explore the town. We enjoyed the local food, did some last-minute shopping and soaked in the charming atmosphere. Chamonix is a fantastic place with plenty of outdoor shops and gear. We stayed in a beautiful hotel with a gorgeous view of Mont Blanc. I will have links to our accommodations and transport we use in the comments below. The next morning, after a big breakfast at the hotel, we did our final packing. To get to the official starting point of the Tour du Mont Blanc in Les Jousses, you have 2 options, bus or train. We chose the train, which offers scenic views but requires a bit of an uphill walk to reach the actual starting point. After navigating through a crowd of tourists, we passed through the official starting point and started on our incredible journey. Here you have another 2 options to start your hike. Option 1 is a challenging steep hike up a hill for about 6 to 8 kilometers. Option 2 is to take a cable car and skip the first big hill, which is the more popular choice and the one we opted for. We chose this so that we can ease into day 1. The first day is all about finding your rhythm. The trail is moderate with some elevation gain, but nothing too serious. We encountered a bit of rain, but thankfully our rain gear kept us dry. As we hiked, we passed through charming French villages and stopped for lunch at a local restaurant. One of the great things about this hike is the availability of food at refuges or restaurants along the way, which helps keep your pack weight down. After lunch, we continued through more picturesque French towns and came across an adorable church. To end the day, we faced a big climb to reach our refuge, Mont Blanc. A quick note on refuges. In France, they are called a refuge, which are mountain hostels that allow hikers to stay on their hike. Some are better than others. In Italy, they're also called refugios. You typically stay in dorm-style rooms with another 6 to 12 other hikers, and you sleep in bunk beds or, if you're lucky, in limited private rooms for a higher cost. You are normally required to have at least a sleeping bag liner. You can also select if you want breakfast and dinner included, which I would highly recommend. Despite a few sick people in our dorm, the refuge itself was very nice. I think it was one of the best on the whole trail. Day 1 covered about 18 kilometers with an elevation gain of 900 meters. It took us around 7 hours, including plenty of stops to enjoy the scenery and also, of course, resting. Day 2 started with a bit of stiffness as our muscles adjusted to the new adventure. This is when our journey truly began. From our pre-trip research, mostly on YouTube, we learned about a stunning refuge called Robert Blanc, perched high in the mountains at 2,750 meters altitude. To get there, we had to take the variant route on day 2. A variant is basically a detour from the normal route. Typically a bit tougher, but it can provide amazing views if the weather is good. I would highly recommend only doing the variants if the weather is good. This is the one we attempted on day 2 and 3. The weather for our day was perfect. The trail gradually led us through rocky terrain, steadily climbing higher. We arrived at a beautiful lake where we took an early lunch break. Then the real challenge began. The trail began steeper and rockier, and as we ascended, my fear of heights kicked in. We finally reached the top and celebrated. And as Karen likes to say, too soon, Lee, too soon. And of course, that's when I made a mistake. Instead of following my downloaded map, we decided to follow some trail markings which led us down the wrong side of the mountain. We had to walk all the way down the mountain and find our way back up again, making it an extremely long day. Exhausted and with darkness setting in, we finally reached the refuge. A note about Robert Blanc, It is very remote with no showers and limited running water, so it's quite basic, but the views surely make up for this. Too tired to appreciate the views, we ordered some beers to calm our nerves, ate a hearty meal and went to bed early. Day 2 covered about 18 kilometers with an elevation gain of over 2,050 meters. It took us around 12 hours. Ouch. We woke up on day 3 feeling a bit better, relieved that the challenges of the previous day were behind us and eager for an easier, shorter day. Another mistake, I know. After a basic breakfast, we finally took in the stunning views from our remote refuge. Absolutely worth the effort to get here. The weather was beautiful once again, which lifted our spirits. Determined to avoid any more detours, we decided to stick to my maps, no matter what. There was only one other couple heading our way, and they were very fast, so we found ourselves hiking alone. This day was a test of nerves, featuring extreme downhills with loose rocks, exposed gorges, and precarious pathways up the mountains. With no one else around, we had to stay fully present and rely solely on each other. The trail was extremely technical, and it took us a long time to complete. One of the highlights of the day was crossing from France into Italy. Bonjour France, ciao Italy. Crossing borders on foot is such a unique experience. The cultural shift is noticeable, and the landscapes are beautiful. After this exhilarating part of the hike, we made our way to our next stop, Refugio Elisabetta. We absolutely loved this refugio. It was lively, the food was amazing, and the wine was delicious. Who doesn't love Italy? We met some wonderful people there, many of whom we would see throughout the rest of our journey. Day 3 was extremely technical. We covered only about 8 kilometers with a 330-meter elevation gain, but it took us around 6 hours. It was a challenging but unforgettable day. Day 4 took us to Courmayeur. The morning started cold and windy, with a constant sound of cowbells echoing through the epic mountains and beautiful lakes, a signature of the TMB experience. We tackled a very long and steep hill, battling the wind that threatened to blow us off the mountain. As we got closer to Courmayeur, the skies cleared and the sun embraced us warmly. Entering this bustling mountain town, we were on the hunt for gelato, our favorite post-hike treat. We took some time to explore the charming streets, resupply our gear, and indulge in some delicious Italian pizza. Day 4 was a fantastic day, around 17 kilometers with over 850-meter elevation gain, taking us approximately 7 hours to complete. It was a perfect blend of challenge and reward. We spent the next 2 nights in a beautiful hotel and enjoying the luxury of our own room, bathroom, and yes, gourmet breakfast. On day 5, we set out for Refugio Bunati. Unfortunately, this refugio was fully booked, so we couldn't stay the night there and we had to plan to take a bus back to Courmayeur for the evening. Because of this, Corin decided to leave her bag behind and travel light for the day, making her a very happy hiker. This section of the trail was incredibly beautiful. As usual, we climbed at least 800 meters, but the stunning views were well worth the effort. We truly felt blessed as we sat eating our leftover pizza and watching other hikers and even some runners pass by. By day 5, we had really found our rhythm and fallen in love with the daily routine. Waking up, having breakfast, packing, walking, finding a refugio and then repeating it all over the next day. We reached Bunati, enjoyed a nice beer while taking in the views, and then walked back down the mountain to catch a bus back to Courmayeur. We ended the day with a wonderful evening of Italian dining, enjoying some well-deserved wine and recline time. Another fantastic day, about 15 kilometers with 1100 meters of elevation gain, taking us around 7.5 hours. It was a day that was perfectly blended with challenge and enjoyment. A quick break here. A quick shout out to all our supporters that have watched and subscribed to our channel. Your support is incredible and you have no idea how much that means to us. We read every comment. For those that haven't yet and found this video useful, please consider to like, subscribe and share this video. It really would help us to get this video to more people. That's it. Let's get back to it. On day 6, we made our way back to Refugio Bunati by bus and headed towards Switzerland. While we were sad to leave Italy, we were looking forward to the next part of our journey. This day was full of ups and downs, both physically and mentally. The transition from Italy to Switzerland offered breathtaking views, but progress was slow. We faced long, steep uphills, crowded trails, and even cows blocking our path. It was a real mental challenge to reach the border. Once we crossed into Switzerland, the landscapes became even more stunning, almost too perfect to be real. We call it fake mountains. It was our first time in Switzerland and it did not disappoint. We eventually reached the lunch stop, enjoyed a beer and soaked in the incredible scenery. However, as we continued, Corin hurt her leg, possibly from shin splints. After a quick repack and shifting most of the pack weight to me, we continued at a slower pace. We ended our day in Le Fouilly, a charming little town, so small you can walk through it in just a few steps. We checked into our refugio dorm, met some amazing new friends from Australia, and enjoyed some not so great aperitifs, but fine wine and delicious food. Day 6 was another beautiful day, around 16 kilometers with 840 meters elevation gain, taking us about 7.5 hours. It was a day of incredible beauty and resilience. The next day started off rainy and cold, but as we began walking, the skies cleared and it turned into another stunning day. Many people mentioned that this was their least favorite part of the trail, but not for me. It was one of my best. Hiking through the Swiss countryside felt like stepping into a fairy tale. Everywhere we looked, there were picture-perfect mountains, charming villages, and pristine landscapes. We took our time, savoring every moment as we made our way to Champex-Lac, a stunning town situated right by a beautiful lake. We were pleasantly surprised to find out we had a hotel booked for the night, and it even included dinner. This was a blessing in disguise as we discovered how expensive Switzerland can be. We bought the smallest bottle of 500ml red wine, which cost us 30 euros, and that was the cheapest on the menu. Despite the price, it was worth it. The food was divine, and having our own room and bathroom after so many days of hiking felt like pure luxury. Day 7 covered around 16 kilometers with 550 meters of elevation gain, taking us around 6.5 hours. Another day of beauty and unexpected comforts. Today's hike was tough but incredibly rewarding. As usual, we faced a big climb, but we were surrounded by breathtaking scenery the entire way. When we reached the top, we decided to reward ourselves with a local treat, Swiss fondue. As we sat waiting for our meal, clouds started rolling in, and it got a bit chilly. And this is probably where Corin got a bit sick. This made the warm, rich fondue taste even better. The rest of the day, we continued downhill through forest-lined paths until we reached Strien and checked into our dorm for the evening. Day 8 covered around 17 kilometers with 800 meters elevation gain, taking us about 7.5 hours to complete. Up till this point, we had enjoyed mostly amazing weather. However, today the heavens opened up and the bad weather set in. As we climbed higher, the rain and wind intensified. Near the top, we were hit with ice, hail and sleet. The cold forced us to wear more layers and take fewer breaks, but this also made us sweat more, which in turn made us colder. A never-ending cycle. Eventually we reached the top and all the hikers huddled inside a small restaurant to warm up. After a lunch and several coffees, we decided to push on. By this time, Corin was already feeling a bit sick from the past few days, so I made the tough call to take a ski lift down, skipping the long downhill section for both our health and safety. And so we were back in France. We reached Trelecham, sorry for my pronunciation, where we spent the night in a tent provided by the refuge. Despite the cold and rainy weather, I preferred this to the stories we heard the next day of people sleeping shoulder to shoulder inside. The tent offered much needed privacy, even if it was a bit chilly. Overall, this was probably the least comfortable refuge, cold, cramped, and with mediocre food, but we met some fantastic new people. While Corin rested, I made a quick run to the nearest town to find some medicine for her. Day 9 turned out to be a shorter day due to our early descent, covering only about 7 kilometers but with a 950 meter elevation gain, and it took us around 4 hours. Our second last day was a big one, and thankfully we were blessed with better weather. As always, we started the day with an uphill climb, rewarded by absolutely breathtaking views. Then we reached the famous ladder section, climbing a series of ladders which took much longer than I expected. It sounds intimidating, but it wasn't too bad. If I can do it with my fear of heights, I think anyone can. There was a bit of waiting as people moved slowly ahead and sometimes descended from the other side. After the ladders, we made our way to the famous Mirror Lakes. This spot is very popular, attracting many day hikers, so be prepared for a lot of tourists. We were lucky to find a perfect spot for lunch, enjoying the stunning reflections on the water and the surrounding views. Although there's a refuge at the top, we chose to eat by the lake due to the long queues. If you think we missed out by not visiting the refuge, let us know in the comments below. Finally, we reached Le Fouilly. Sorry, once again, for my pronunciation. Our last refuge on the Tour du Mont Blanc. Perched on top of a hill, it offered spectacular views. Despite sharing a dorm with many people, reaching this point filled us with such a sense of accomplishment that nothing could bring us down. We reflected on our entire journey, marveling at the ups and the downs, and found it hard to believe it would be all over the next day. While many people take the cable car down to Chamonix from here, we decided to spend the night and finish the trail all the way to Les Jeux, covering it a full circle. Day 10 covered about 9 kilometers with 950 meter elevation gain, taking us around 6.5 hours. It was a day full of adventure and stunning scenery. The last day was a unique and emotional experience. Leaving the refuge, we were greeted with incredible views and soon the trail became rocky. We even managed to spot some wildlife along the way, which were not cows. Navigating the rocky terrain led us to a very, very long downhill section. By the last day, the constant descent started giving us blisters. Eventually, we made it back to Les Jus. Walking down the street, we were at a loss for words to describe the journey we had just completed. Over 11 days, we hiked more than 170 kilometers and climbed over 10,000 meters of elevation gain. That's more than Everest. We battled weather, navigated technical trails, and dealt with unexpected challenges. Even looking back at the bad days and worst moments of day 2 and 3, it is those memories we treasure and that we'll keep getting back to and will stay with us forever. The sense of accomplishment. We did it together. Crossing the finish line was an emotional moment, and we felt incredibly blessed to have shared this journey together. On our bus ride back to Chamonix, one question kept running through our minds: what's next? We treated ourselves to 2 nights in a gorgeous hotel in Chamonix, indulging in sauna, jacuzzi, and even a bit of river rafting, relishing the post-hike bliss, always in the back of our minds thinking of our next adventure. The Tour du Mont Blanc was an amazing adventure. We hope our journey inspires you to take on your own challenges and explore the world. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Joey's Journeys for more travel and hiking adventures. If you have any questions or need more tips, drop them in the comments below. If you want a detailed breakdown of how to plan the TMB, we'll be creating a video soon and we'll link it to this video and also in the comment section below. These will be the things we wish we knew before we started the trail. Until next time, keep exploring and stay adventurous.